Welcome everybody back to Nine's Corner. I hope everybody's doing well, feeling well. Today we had rain, glorious rain. You can smell the spring and the rain is melting the snow away because yes, we still have lots of snow here in Alberta. But I got rejuvenated. I've been having such a difficult time sleeping. I think this new venture of YouTube and how to navigate there just put me off kilter. And it started to kind of dawn on me that, some of the things that I use to refresh myself are things that maybe you would like to use to refresh yourself. For instance, one of the things that I realized I was letting a lot of the negative stay with me. I was waking up thinking about, oh, the list of things that are affecting all of us, and just taking the weight of the world on my shoulders. And through my journey of learning, and it's continuous. I learn every day, even through YouTube now, reading your comments, which I appreciate so much. I'm learning. So one of the things that brings me back is when you hear people say, we're not human beings with skin and bones, we're the spiritual. To let go of the body, let go of the things that are weighing us down. It's the spiritual. And that really resonates for me because, you've often heard people go, why do so many bad things happen to good people? And about karmic debt. Well, karma is not necessarily a bad thing. I know everybody like, oh, karma's going to be a bee. But it's really not. It's about living our journey. Okay, I should qualify that. For me and for what I have learned, it's really about, realizing that we're here. We have been here before. We'll probably come back again. So our debt or karmic debt is things we build up, not just in this lifetime, but over multiple lifetimes. And if you think about it, we're almost going into this like global karmic debt because of this pandemic. 180 something countries out of 200 or thereabouts, because there's some that aren't. We're not going to get into that here. But the reality is we've all chose to be here for whatever reason. And, there's really good people that bad things happen to, and you're like, oh, dear God, oh, God. But if you look at it in the bigger sense, take yourself out of it, let you be the overseer of the bigger picture. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that this is all part of that. And that if you look at it from the bigger picture, you do see why bad things happen to good people. You do understand that, there's a freedom in understanding that. There's a freedom in accepting that there's a beginning, middle, and end, that there's life and then death. Because by doing that, you choose to live rather than just survive. You live, you experience life rather than trying to control it. So that's just my little rant. And I do those in the morning. I've learned from so many good people and watching YouTube and just, learning about how to change your perspective, get into a better mood. And, you can't control what's happening in the bigger world, but you can control what's happening in your own little bubble. So fill yourself up, fill your boots, have positive reinforcements. Just say, no matter what, everything's got a good happen to me. And once you build up your momentum and you get all these good things happening to you, then you're filled and you can help other people get good things. And then that becomes this global thing, which is where we're all going anyway. So let's all just make it. And oh my goodness, before I get into my reading, which I'm thought, let's review and see how are the energies for the COVID, for the virus. Have they changed? Is anything new? Let's look at a past, present, and future. But before we do that, I can't believe I didn't have it lit. It must have. Anyway, it is lit. So here, our candle lit for each and every one of us. We'll always start with that. And just as a little side note, before I start my readings, I generally I have this like little broom and I sweep my area no matter where I do it. And then I always light my little, I have like some sweet grass there, and I light it and I clear the space, because after, when I finish everything, I close this down and I say, okay, you know what, all of this go away, let all the negativities go away, any positivities, let me learn from them, and I close it down because I don't want to keep the effects happening. Just as a little side note. So I thought, let's look in, and we're going to do, say it's April now, so let's do 2 cards for April, May, June, July, August, September. Let's just see how are the energies for COVID and the spread, because I mean, you know, it's what's directly affecting us. It's what's directly causing everything to be shut down now. So let's have a look at how the energies are around the virus spread. Okay. So we have the King of Wands. Again, this is the beginning, the start of the virus. It was definitely man-made. You know, there's something, because I also got the Moon card, which is deceit. So in the beginning of the COVID, there was a plan. It was a deceitful plan, and it was, whether accidentally or on purpose, it got let out. And this is something that has been manipulated with human hands. I don't believe, and the cards have kept telling me, that it's not coming from a natural process through nature, that it was in a lab and it got out, and that maybe it wasn't something that they wanted to do right now, but working on it. That's a scary thought, but the Moon, manipulation. We'll look into this. So, going forward, we have the Ace of Wands. So this is the beginning of taking hold, trying to figure this out. This is inspiration. This is doctors and scientists and everybody coming to the forefront to figure this out, figure out therapies, figure out how to control it. This is a Knight of Pentacles. So the Knight of Pentacles is a slow and steady wins the race. This is putting the resources, the money, to the best of their ability, no matter where we're from, to get on top of it. There's a want to get this figured out. So now in April and May, we're looking at the beginning, the deceitful beginning of it. June and July, you're going to see a real push for therapies, a real push for the vaccination. But there's also sort of like a slow and steady approach towards money and towards economy. So I think by the time June and July comes, this is when you're going to see the pandemic really come to a real decent slowdown, where we're going to tentatively take our first steps out. April, May, June, July, August, and September. So with the Hangman, there's going to be a change in perspective. I think there's going to be this realization that we have to look at where this came from, why this happened, and how to get on top of it as a focus on the problem. But it has to come from everybody. And there's going to be a reset. There's going to, by the time we get into September, there is going to be a calming down for the virus. We're going to be seeing it at a different perspective. We're going to be saying, hey, we can't just say, oh, well, thank God we got through that, and hope that the next one doesn't take us out. This is the virus taking a rest, but this is us changing our perspective. Because I think in all my readings, and as you guys know, I get the Tower and I get different elements that come across that I truly believe are not just one thing. It's the whole group of things, you know? So before I go into a further reading, I wanted to look into the start of the virus, because one thing really bothered me. Now I'm going to look up her name. Christy Freeland. She's our foreign affairs minister in Canada. And I was watching this report in which they said, in which she said, because they were the opposition party was really trying to press her to find out, when did you know and when did you let Canadians know? How long did you know about this virus before you start putting it out in public and making it be, a health crisis, letting people know that it was a health crisis? And she interestingly said that they let the Canadian people know as soon as they were able and allowed to. More or less that, and when pressed, it was more or less like, look, we're getting intelligence from other countries. So technically, the feeling was almost like, well, we found out about it, but we weren't given permission to do anything about it. So it just feels like with this plan and the deceit, there's something on the go. So I just thought, let's clarify and see, were there people or, is there a group? Is there something more? Did they just get caught with their pants down too early, and that this is an actual plan to cause depopulation or to cause depopulation? And like, interestingly enough, if you look at the, in certain places, it's like, oh, it affects men more than women. And then if you look at China, they spent years killing off all the girls, so it has much more men, and the virus affects more men. Not that I think that's a thing, it's just like, your head goes. So let's have a look and clarify with the Lenormands. So we got a man. I think this is representing mankind. And then you have strength, reliability. But it's almost like you can rely on mankind to cause problems, the mountains. And this is the broom. So this is a continuous, it's like we're looping into the confusion, into neglect, depression. It's like we keep going through these cycles over and over of pandemic or depression or what have you, because it is coming from the man. He's causing, this is the responsibility. The responsibility of the man is to avoid the problems, but it keeps coming again and again because it's purposeful. It's meant to confuse. Oi, 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 oi. Okay, so we did why the COVID, or how the COVID is moving over the next little while. So my next question is the electoral college. Why do they have that? I'm going to get another set of cards. I mean, I get that, the whole purpose of that was to give fair shake between Congress and the everyday person to vote for the president. But, I think we're now coming into 2020, we're certainly seeing that there's a number of old structures that need to come down, whether it be the banking system or this electoral college. So let's have a look into the electoral college. Is this going to, because this is one of the things that does give Donald Trump support. And this is one of the things that if you look at 2016 and what happened with Hillary, she won via, if you count up the votes, but she didn't win because of this electoral college. So let's have a look and see what's going to be the end game. Because it's funny that the Republicans want to keep it because obviously that helps put them in power. But even when the Democrats had a chance, they still didn't change it. So I don't understand. So let's just have a look into the electoral college. How is that going to work out over time? So we have the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is really about being there for service. This is I truly think that this was set up with the intention of it being good and in service of to man. Then we have the emperor, which is funny. He's dressed in red. So this is almost like it gives a nod, or it gives a little extra oomph to the Republican Party. And then you get the tower. So coming up in the future, and I mean, I should have put a time limit on it, but I would imagine within the next couple of years, you're going to see lots of structures that are going to need to be changed, and this is going to be one of them. So let's look and see, will this be the start of an uprising? Are people between, the deficits on all sides? Because, it's almost like even if the Democrats get in, they still have political strings and finances and things that are caught up. It's like we need to get rid of Donald Trump 100% because that's the devil incarnate. But then we can't just put a Band-Aid of the Democrats thinking that that's going to be good enough. No, I do believe we need to have this uprising for people to say, no, it's time for us to have health care. And it's time for us to have a decent chance of renting and building and living. It shouldn't be this hard in the 20th century. So let's look over the next 6 months to a year. Will there be uprisings, especially now looking towards the election time? Okay, so we have the Hermit. So this is definitely reflecting us right now. We, the people, having to turn internal, having to look into our homes, having to go back to some of the basics. And that, between this, and this is also being held in and made to be within. And that's causing a lot of emotion to come out. People are starting to turn on the lamp and go, why is this happening? It's no longer acceptable not to understand the why. So the genesis of the uprising has started. The Seven of Pentacles. So people are looking at what they've done for their whole lives, everything that they've worked for in their whole lives, everything that should be coming to fruition, and it's not. And then you're looking at the Queen of Rods. So the Queen of Rods is more or less like, look, it's time to sacrifice something for the better good. We've got to change the current system to get to something better. So the Queen of Wands, is saying, no, it is time for us to sacrifice in the name of having something better, because the current is unacceptable. And this is not in just one facet. This is the Queen. She is going to get it done. This is in many facets. Oy. King of Cups. So this is going to be big business, big pharma, like everything. Everybody is coming to the party. And this is, the rich white man's final deal with the devil to try to keep things under control. But the Death card has come out. This is also people, the emotions of the people. It's time for it to go back. It's not in the government's hands. It's not in the people who's rich hands. It's not in the stock market. It is we, the people. And this is the death. This is the transformation. This is the change that is coming and is needed. We are in for some really amazingly interesting times. And I know it sucks when I give negative news, or if I say, oh my God, I don't see Trump leaving yet. That doesn't mean he won't, but it just means that Donald Trump and all his lackeys and all the negative stuff that's really bubbling up now, this is not the time to put a Band-Aid on it. This is a time to say, you know what? None of ye know how to run this job. None of ye know how to do this. Let's get back to the people. And we have the power to manifest it. No matter what's happening in this world, you have the power to say, I am healthy, I am good, I am wealthy. We have the power to manifest whatever we want in our lives at this powerful moment in time. And hopefully we're moving to what they call the time of Aquarius. I should sing for you. Just kidding. I laugh. But this is certainly a time for us to be coming into the time where, you know what, we are all equal and we should all have a good base to go from. So I guess it's time for that uprising, and we chose to be here, so good on us. All right, guys, this has just opened the door to so many other readings, so wow. And thank you for your response on my previous reading. I look forward to doing somebody's reading. I think that's going to be really exciting. So if you're interested in and you want a reading, go to my previous reading and say I want a reading, and I'll give you a number. And then next Sunday I'm going to pick a number, or I might get my son to do it so that you see I'm totally hands-free of it. And we'll go from there. So wishing you all light for your darkness. Have a great evening, and we'll talk soon. Take care.